Today we are going to talk about tips for sex, for baby making. There's so many misconceptions about when to have intercourse, how often. And today I'm going to clarify those misconceptions and help you make a baby when you're ready. I'm Dr. Parul Agrawal. I am a reproductive endocrinologist and a fertility specialist who's been helping people build their families over the last 15 years. I have spent over a decade answering questions about optimizing your natural fertility, when to have intercourse, how to have intercourse, and how often to have intercourse. And I'm going to help you answer those questions today. So let's get started. Number one, when to have sex. You need to have intercourse during the fertile window, which is in the middle of your menstrual cycle. That is, around the time of ovulation. When the egg is released from the ovary, it goes into the fallopian tubes and it wants the sperms to be present there to meet them. If you're ready to make a baby, the fertile window is about 6 days leading up to the time of ovulation, and that is when you want to have intercourse. So how to calculate it? There's an easy way to calculate it. Cycle day 1 is the first day of bleeding and also the first day of menstrual cycle. You need to calculate the number of days from the day 1 of your bleeding to the number of days when your next bleeding starts. And then you have to subtract 14 days roughly from the total number of days to get the approximate dates of your egg release. For example, if you have a 28-day cycle, you're almost likely ovulating or releasing that egg around cycle day 14. If you have a regular 30-day menstrual cycle, maybe it's around 16th day, that is 30 days minus 14. If you have a regular 25-day cycle, maybe it's a little earlier, around cycle day 11. Again, 25 days minus 14. So one of the best things that you can do is start charting your menstrual cycles and tracking when you get your period and look for signs of ovulation like increased cervical mucus or increased vaginal secretions. When the egg is maturing, the ovaries are making more estrogen hormone. Higher levels of estrogen increases the production of cervical mucus. So if you think you're ovulating around day 14, then you want to start having intercourse about 6 days earlier. So do the maths, maybe around day like 9 or 10 and do it. Do it another time before day 14 as well. Coming to the next point, there's so many misconceptions about timing intercourse. Other ways to know when you're ovulating, you can do ovulation predictor kits. These are not always perfect and sometimes they are really frustrating. But you are looking for is when the estrogen level gets really high, like when the egg is mature and about to release. Then that estrogen from your ovary talks to your pituitary gland in the brain and it releases something called as luteinizing hormone or the LH. There occurs a peak of LH hormone. That LH goes and tells the mature follicle in the ovary to release that egg. So when you're doing ovulation predictor kits, you want to start it earlier before you expect it to be positive. So start checking and peeing on a stick about once a day around cycle day 9 or 10 and do it every day. And then when it's positive on the ovulation predictor kit, you are actually releasing the egg about 24 to 48 hours after that. So when you see the line on the kit, that's a great time to have intercourse and then maybe the next day too. Actually, what happens is after the egg is released and it's in the fallopian tube and waiting for the sperms, it is alive and able to be fertilized for about 12 to 24 hours. Similarly, sperms after ejaculation can be in the reproductive tract and waiting to find an egg for about 2 to up to 5 days. And so knowing that there is some overlap in intercourse and when the egg and the sperm can meet. that can hopefully decrease some of your worries about trying to find this perfect magic moment. You just have to do intercourse a few times around ovulation. Number 2 is the frequency of sex. Oh my gosh, there's so many misconceptions about this. There are some studies that say that if you have intercourse every single day, then you're going to have a higher chance of conceiving. There's others that say if you have intercourse every alternate day, that might be better. And so it can be really confusing if you are the patient. Frequent intercourse in the window of ovulation will improve the chances of sperms and egg meeting. But it's a balance. It can be very stressful, physically demanding, and intimacy can really be impacted between a couple if it's like very timed and calculated and feeling like you have to have intercourse like on the spot every single day. So just be mindful of that. And honestly, if you have intercourse 2 or 3 times in that fertile window, in the middle of your cycle and around the time of ovulation, that is going to be the best way to time it. So I hope that helps. A common misconception is that frequent intercourse will decrease sperm counts and decrease the chances of conceiving. And for most people who are creating sperms, this is actually not true. If you look at daily sperm counts in certain studies, they remain pretty consistent. There are some times where people have very low sperm counts and daily or frequent intercourse might decrease the amount of sperms a little bit. That's seen at the time of ovulation. But for most people, this is a true misconception and frequency does not decrease the amount of sperm that's there. What about position? Is there a position for sex that makes it better for baby making? The short answer is no. Any position is fine if there is ejaculation and sperms getting into the vagina. The sperm is in the cervical canal within seconds. It does not matter what position you have during intercourse or after that. There is no evidence that changing position increases your chances of conceiving. There is also no evidence that position of intercourse changes the effects of the embryo, whether you have a boy or a girl. So position does not matter. What about lubricants with sex? Are they good? Are they bad? What about for baby making? The short answer is no. Only some lubricants are okay and others are actually harmful for the function of sperms. So in some studies, some medical stores bought water-based lubricants like KY jellies or astroglides and have been shown to decrease the function and mobility of the sperms. Other things that have been tested like our saliva, olive oil, canola oil or mineral oil, they actually do not decrease the motility and function of the sperm. What about sex and orgasm? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it helpful? The short answer is it's not harmful. Theoretically, female orgasm will help pull the sperms from the cervical canal into the uterus and into the fallopian tubes where the eggs are waiting. So it might be helpful. This has not been proven scientifically, but certainly orgasms, they are not harmful for baby making. What about position after intercourse? Hips in the air, standing on your head, feet up. Does that improve your chances of making a baby? The short answer is no. Positions after intercourse do not change the chances of sperm getting to the egg. The sperm is within the cervical canal within seconds after ejaculation, and changing positions after intercourse does not improve your chances of making a baby. The stuff that comes out from the vagina after intercourse is a mix of ejaculate and then vaginal secretions. And of course, there's going to be some sperms in it. But positions after the intercourse do not change your chances of getting pregnant. I hope this was helpful. There's so many misconceptions when it comes to timing, intercourse, and frequency, and lubrications and positions. I hope this clarified a few things. If it was helpful, please like this video and comment below with other things that you have heard. I would like to bust myths for you and really clarify all of your questions. Thank you for being here and stick around for more educational videos.